Welcome, fans, to episode 80 of Rangers Ed, another milestone episode. I'm here with this is your host, Cousin Ed, with my co-host, Little Ed. What's up? Of course, I bombed the intro on the highlight episode, right? What's up, Little Ed?
How you doing, fellas?
And we got Coach Ed here with 3 jerseys up. Is that yourself and Nespo? Who's the other one?
That's the quickie. Jesper Fast.
Oh, nice. Nice. I like how you turned that one around, though, so we don't have to see Jesper after he bashes the Rangers when he leaves. And we got Mikey Produces here. What's up, Mike?
Going on, boys? Glad to be back on.
Yeah, so you got to enjoy that Bruins game, huh?
It was a great game. It was definitely a great game. When they tied it, that place was going crazy. I was telling Coach and Little Ed yesterday, though, I think my numbers were a little off. I think yesterday I said 60-40 Ranger fans to Bruin fans, but I'm going to change it to 70-30. But there were a lot of Boston fans in the
I
Garden.
can't believe it was 70-30.
I'm telling you, when they
There's
scored,
no way it's 70-30.
You
I can
didn't
believe
watch
that.
the
I mean-
you didn't watch the game. So when you watch
There's
the game
no
and
way
watch,
at the Garden it's 70-30.
when
Well,
you
there
when
goes
you-
that, Ed.
when you watch Boston score in those goals, you could hear the entire crowd going crazy as if the Rangers scored.
Yeah. No, there was a lot of Bruins fans there. You could tell from watching it. But I think that's normal. I don't think that's abnormal. I mean, Boston's pretty close to New York. It's an easy road trip for a Bruins fan to head down to New York. I mean, we went to the Boston Garden, didn't we? We watched the Rangers and Bruins play there. So
Yeah, but it wasn't 70-30 Ranger fans.
no,
And
it
it's
was
not like that when
70-30
Philly.
Bruins.
It wasn't like that when the Philly game either.
I don't know. I mean, Boston's got their first place in the East right now. I can see a lot of their fans coming down for that one. But that doesn't bother me too much. That rarely happens in MSG. So, kudos to the Bruins fans for showing up, I guess. Maybe the Rangers fans are selling their tickets. But all right, we only got 2 games to cover. But before we do that, let's do jersey numbers. So current jersey number, according to Hockey Reference, Tyler Wall, who's, as far as I can tell, hasn't played a single game with the Rangers, but is registered on Hockey Reference as wearing number 80 currently. He's in Hartford, goaltender.
He might have backed up a preseason game, but I don't.
Actually, I think they didn't even qualify him. I don't even think he's on the team anymore, so it would be previous. I can't remember him dressing as a Ranger. I don't know. Do you think
definitely not regular season? Maybe in preseason he backed up a game, or started a game, but definitely not regular.
Yeah, so they need to update that too, because he's not even current. They didn't qualify him after his contract was up. So Tyler Wall, great. Kevin Weeks, though, wore number 80 with the Rangers for in 06-07, and Nick Antropov, who was a Ranger for about 3 months after getting him at the deadline, he wore number 80, and that's it. Not a very popular number. Like I've been saying for the last 30 numbers, we're getting close to the end here of the jersey numbers. But anyway, prior to the last episode, the Rangers were 6-3-2. Since then, 0-1-1. Current record 6-4-3, 15 points, 3rd in the Metro, 12th in the NHL. A lot of teams bunched up. There's a lot of parity right now. At home against Boston, a 5-2 loss. It was a little closer than that. It was 2-2 in the third. Rangers gave up 3 goals at the end, lost 5-2. And then again, at home versus Detroit, another original 6 matchup. Rangers blow a 2-0 lead, lose in overtime 3-2. So a couple losses. We're hot, we're cold, we're hot, we're cold. The team still appears a little snake bitten, but Little Ed, I think the biggest takeaway from these 2 games is these are 2 games the Rangers could have won, but they just failed to play a full 60 minutes. In both games at different points, a little sloppy, and it hurts them, right? I mean, they got to learn to tighten up for an entire 60, right?
Yeah, without a doubt, especially against a team like Detroit. I know they're on the up and come. I know they've been hot lately. I think they shut out the Islanders 2 nights ago. So they're definitely riding high right now. They're playing good hockey. But if you go up 2-0 against a team like that, you got to know how to shut it down. Coach Ed and I have trouble with this with our team right now, and we blew a lead recently because of something like that. And in a game like this, especially in the NHL, at a level like this, just the small mistakes is what makes the difference. And you got to really bear down and knuckle down and prevent those from happening, especially when you're up 2-0. I mean, we're at the winery last night or at the bar last night and or brewery, and we're watching the game and it's all exciting. And then we turn around and it's tied up 2-2. It's like, what the hell happened? You know, so it's like a game like that, you got to think like, all right, we got this game won, move on to the next one, especially with a team like the Rangers talent. And obviously it's not happening.
Yeah, I mean, they're up 2-0 after the first period. Got all the momentum in the world. Terrible second period. Detroit just kept bringing it, get a goal from a fourth liner on a deflection, and then obviously the tying goal by Pew Suter, one of the great hockey names of our day. Coach Ed, I mean, in the Boston game, it's 2-2. Fox ties it. Mike, you said it. The crowd goes crazy, right? Big goal. Trying to compete and keep up with the team with the best record in the East. And then they just fall apart at the end. And then against Detroit, you know, Jaro Halak still winless, but not his fault, right? I mean, I thought he played a really good game against the Red Wings, and the team he made like that could have been 7-2 Detroit. I feel like.
Yeah, he made some big saves.
I feel like he played a great game, and it sucks for him. He looked pretty angry after the game, slamming his stick. You know, obviously he wants to get that first win, but I mean, as a coach, like, what do you do to get a bunch of professional hockey players that are full-grown men to play a full 60 minutes? Because it happens, right? I mean, you see teams struggle with this early in seasons and then put it together as the year goes on. Obviously, they credit coaching for that. But what can Gallant really do to motivate, you know, a Chris Kreider or you know, a Jacob Trouba or whoever to play a full 60 minutes you know, as the season progresses?
I have trouble with that realization that an NHL coach has to do that. I understand that he does have to do it, but I don't know. You got to create that hunger, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what is this a Gallant thing where we talked about earlier in the last year that his second season is just not as good as that first one. I don't know. I'm starting to question it a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, well, one thing that he did, which I actually liked, was he demoted Chris Kreider to the fourth line, and he shook up the lines a little bit now. I think Kreider's set to start on the third line. So here are the practice lines going into tomorrow night's game against the Islanders. Artemi Panarin with Zibby and Kakko, Jimmy Vesey with Trocheck and Lafreniere, Kreider, Hedel, Kraftsov, Blay, Carpenter, Gaudreau. Obviously, Gauthier is day to day. I don't think he's going to be ready to play tomorrow. And Lindgren is also out. So who knows what he's going to do with the D, but not many options. If one is out, then the other six are in, right? So, I mean, he's shaking the lines up. I think maybe moving Kreider to the third line is kind of a message, right? It sends a message, I think, to the whole team. In a way, I mean, he's a veteran and the longest tenured Ranger, right? So maybe movements like that is really how Gallant sends a message to the other players. I don't really know, to be honest.
He might be
I don't
doing
know.
that. He might be doing that on purpose. He might have. I mean, it's not like he might have did like a Herb Brooks and took him on the side and said, "Look, we got to make some changes. I'm going to put you down there. I got to show the rest of the team that no one's safe." He might have did something like that, but that line's going to be a disaster.
Kreider, Hedel, and Kraftsov.
Disaster. I give it two. I give it two shifts and they change it.
Please elaborate.
Kreider doesn't know what to do with the puck. Heedle's going to be skating around wild, and Kravtsov is most skilled, but he's going to get hurt on the second shift. So that line's going to be done against the Islanders. Forget it.
Who gets hurt first, Hedel or Kraftsov tomorrow?
They'll probably collide with each other, and they'll both go off. And Barzal will go in and score.
Oh man. Well, I mean, look, so Gallant had some, I don't know if you saw his press conference, but he had some pretty strong words for the veterans on the team and for Kreider in particular. So I don't know, maybe he did pull him aside and this is all for show and it's to send a message. But as for with Kreider, they asked him, you dropped him to the fourth line, you know, why? And all he said was he deserved to be where he was at, period. That was his quote, which isn't a ringing endorsement of Kreider's play. And then later on, Kreider and all the veterans, Panarin, Zibanejad, etc., he says they've got to lead our team when we're not playing as well. And that's not giving the young guys an excuse or giving the third and fourth lines an excuse, but it starts at the top. Our best players have got to be our best players. Clearly not happy with the veteran leadership on the team in a 2-0, game. Like Eddie, you said, it's a 2-0 lead against Detroit, which is a young up and coming team. I get it. They have 7 wins this year. They look to be pretty decent, but that's a game that you got to seal, and that starts at the top, according to Gallant. So I think that's what he's doing by shaking this up and making these comments, because I can't really see any other way that you can motivate a fully grown adult to do what they're paid millions to do or to want to do it. They got to have that in them, right? I mean,
I would say so. I mean, I would say so, but then you could say like, okay, then what's the point of having a coach at all? I don't think it's really Yeah, I don't think it's really motivation. That was my question: is like, is he going into the locker room and giving them specific strategy on what to do? I mean, you like to think like you shouldn't have to with a Rangers team like that up 2-0. The leadership that the Rangers have, they should be able to do that on their own. But I mean, every hockey player needs to be reminded, like I said, like otherwise, what's the point of even playing the game? Because every hockey player is going to make mistakes. Every hockey player needs to be reminded. I think playing a full 60 minutes has been a trend around the NHL. I know Pittsburgh is suffering from it right now. They've blown a lot of leads recently. So I mean, it's like it's a struggle that any hockey team has had from when you're a mite up until you retire from the game. So it's just something it's not really taught. You just have to dig deep, and I think they'll figure it out. I mean, I'm not pressing the panic button just yet.
No,
so
not 6-4-2. No way.
Yeah, I think they'll figure it out. I think Gallant's doing the right thing by shuffling up the line, sending the message, and I think they'll bounce back. I mean, they better be, because we'll be at the Garden tomorrow night against the Islanders, and I am not going to the Garden for an Islanders loss.
Well, let me just give you a preview. It's going to be Semyon Varlamov for the Islanders, who I believe has shut out the Rangers at the Garden for 20 straight periods, maybe. I don't know.
Unbelievable.
I don't know the exact number. So I do not expect a lot of goals, but let's hope that they can snap out of it. I mean, so Little Ed, what do you think of Panarin with Zibanejad, though? I mean, that's been something that some fans have speculated. Like, why not load up like Colorado does and put all our best players in the first line and then have some depth lines under it? We've talked about how we like Panarin and Zibby separated because it gives you 2 lines with an elite player. But Gallant appears, and again, this is just practice. He could change his mind, but it appears like he's going to go with them as the first line with Kakko. I mean, do you think that's really the right move, or do you disagree with shuffling the lines at all? Or, just give me your assessment on Panarin and fitting with Zibby.
Shuffling the lines is definitely necessary, but I don't think you should put them together because it's too heavy. I was thinking before when you were announcing it, like they better score a couple goals tomorrow night. Otherwise, I don't see any of the other lines really scoring or producing or able to produce. I mean, look at some of those other lines and they're just like not very well balanced. Coach touched on it before that third line isn't going to really know what the hell they're doing. And I don't really see the second line really clicking either. I mean, VC, Trocheck, and Laffy. I mean, hey, I don't know. Maybe they look good in practice.
Feels like a third line more than a
I mean, line. It seems like it's like a superstar line and like 3 fourth lines.
Yeah, or like 2 third lines and then a fourth.
Yeah, line. It's like whatever. I don't know. We'll see how they react. I mean, I think it's more of a sending a message thing, and then maybe halfway through the first period, he'll put it back to normal. If they come out at least hustling, it may not work, quote unquote. But if the team is hustling, he might start to slowly go back to the old lines,
or a different set of lines. I mean, I don't really love these lines, to be honest, but I do agree that it's time to shuffle them. I mean, Coach, we talk about Kreider getting a demotion going to the fourth line last game, and now looking like he's going to play with Hedel and Kravtsov on the third line. But what kind of message does that send to the team when Artemi Panarin goes up to play with Zibby? In these games, he was -3 in 2 games. He's -6 on the year with 17 points. I mean, how are you -6 with 17 points? I find that incredible. It's like I know a lot of the power play points, obviously plus minus doesn't count. I'm not a huge plus minus guy, but I like to bring it up because it's a coach ed stat that he can register so he
Well,
can
it's
connect.
it's an,
-6 with 17 points, coach. And he
you
goes to the
hit
first
you
line.
hit the nail on the head. He's got power play points a lot. So on his 5-on-5 even strength, he's a minus.
He's getting hammered at even strength. That's what that tells me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
I
it
mean,
definitely.
so I don't know how you demote Kreider and then promote him. I don't.
Well, I think Kreider deserves a demotion too. But
No,
Mike, can
I'm
you look up how
saying
many of Panarin's points are on the power play this year? Of his 17. I'm curious. I bet you it's like 12 or 13.
I was going to
Probably
say 8.
close. It's probably a lot. I would think it would be.
But my
Zibby doesn't
point-
have an even strength goal.
Yeah, he has one.
His
Oh no, he's got a shorty. You're right. He's got a
it's a
shorty
shorthanded goal, and then the rest of power play.
and all power play goals. It's crazy.
So then they're
So,
back.
I mean-
so then they're back to that they're not playing well 5-on-5.
Well, they're not scoring 5-on-5. That's the issue. I mean, if it were me and I were doing this shuffling, here's the problem. Can you put Panarin with Hedel? You don't like Kreider and Kraftsov with Hedel. Imagine if they put Panarin with Hedel, you would feel the same way. It'd be like, oh, that line's going to be terrible, right? I think Hedel is okay defensively. I know you don't. So if you're moving Panarin, he either goes to Zibby or Hedel. There's nowhere else to move him. You're not going to put him with Carpenter on the fourth
You got to
line.
put
right?
Panarin with players that are gonna heavy forecheck. In my opinion, I don't
well, he
really
was with
see. I don't really
Trocheck.
see, or well, yeah. So you got Trocheck and you got Laffy forechecking pretty heavy. I mean, Kakko will get in there and stuff, but you need a player. I think Panarin needs a player more like Trocheck on his line.
Well, with
That's my
Trocheck, he's
opinion.
a -6. So
I mean, offensively,
I think Laffy should go up with Zibby and Kakko. That's probably what I would do because the three of them are probably playing the best, and I would see
and
Kakko
you
and Zibby.
try Laffy at his natural position.
Yeah, put Laffy at left wing with Zibby and Kakko. Put I guess Panarin with Trocheck. I guess leave him there. Put Kreider and Hedel have done okay in the past, but I mean the problem is if you're going to play Kraftsov, you're taking a risk, right? I mean, he hasn't really shown that much. He can't stay healthy. So what is he going to do? Is he going to be a liability? Is he going to create anything? Is he going to forecheck? We don't really know. He's an unknown still. He's played 4 games, so we don't know where he's gonna fall. But I don't know. I think Laffy's earned a chance to be on that first line. If you're going to take Kreider away from Zibby, which I'm sure he's not happy about, unless his plan is probably just to shake this up for 2 periods and then put Kreider back with Zibby, which is probably what's going to happen, right? I mean,
I don't think it's going to last that long.
yeah. So it's to start the game, pretty much.
Yeah, I said like halfway through the first, they might start switching it back up.
Yeah.
I think it's really just to send a message.
Yeah, and I was looking today. So Sammy Blais coming off his injury, no goals in 10 games, no goals last year before his injury. He still hasn't scored as a Ranger. It's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
It's
need a
not
little
great.
more out of Sammy Blais, I think, at some point. But
He plays hard. He definitely throws the body around, but he needs to be putting the puck in the net at some point.
oh yeah, he's a 4th liner. So all right. Kakko. Let's give some love. Goal and 2 assists in these 2 games. We said it last episode. Kakko's expected goals are, through the roof. He's playing really well. He's cycling. He's getting chances. Puck wasn't going in for him. All of a sudden, goal and 2 assists. Yes, they were in losses, but that goal was a thing of beauty. Great shot, good patience, and he probably could have had 3 or 4 more points. Honestly, he's just playing with so much confidence right now, and it's just a beautiful thing to see. I mean, little Ed, like when going into the year, we saw Kakko get healthy scratch game 6. Going into the year, what did you really expect out of Kakko? Is this forget the points, but is this the kind of play that you expected, or were you just hoping for some improvement?
No, I definitely thought he was going to break out this year in one way or another. I think we all expected him to play good defensively, but I think he's really even stepped it up a level even more in that department. I think I mentioned last episode, he's very good at like back checking and picking up the guy in the neutral zone, pickpocketing him. So that's a huge part of his game. And then offensively, he's a beast back there. He's controlling the puck behind the net, controlling play, controlling flow, cycling well, and now he's starting to put the points up. So I mean, yeah, I definitely expected him to do well, and now he's actually putting the points up, so he's actually shutting the other people up around. So he's passing the eye test and the analytic test now. So he's definitely blossoming for sure. And it's
Yeah,
exciting. I really enjoy watching him play. I want to see him succeed, obviously for more reasons than one.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, it was our second overall pick, first big pick of the rebuild after, the Leas and Hedel and Kraftsov, Miller. But the first like high pick, and you need those to succeed. And it's just nice to see that he's going to be a useful NHL player. I think we could say that if this is the player he is, he's useful. He's still got room to grow. He's only 21 years old. Coach. I mean, last episode we were talking about Laffy and Kakko and how Laffy's looking good and Kakko's looking good, but you were talking about the expected goals. You're like, who cares? He doesn't have any. And then he responds to you by getting a goal and 2 assists. I mean, you got to be a little bit happy about that, right?
I mean, his game is very enthusiastic, or whatever the word you want to use, and he's motivated. He looks good. The eye test, like we talked about, watching him on the bench and watching him at the face-off, he's into the game, and I like the fact that he's mixing it up a little bit in the corners, and so far so good with the non-injury situation. So building himself up with those few pounds they keep talking about, I think definitely helped. That should be a lesson to the younger guys for sure.
Yeah, Mike, I think before the season in the preview episode, and I'm sure Little Ed will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Mike, you and I picked Kakko, didn't we, to break out? Is that right? I think so, if I remember.
Didn't you write it
Definitely.
down?
No, I don't write everything down. I just keep track of the trivia and
Of course, because you're winning.
and the star and the stars of the week I write down too, but I can't write everything down.
Well, I thought you would have wrote the predictions down
Well,
on
that's
a
what we pay.
spreadsheet.
That's what we pay Mike for.
Yeah, next year. But no, these last 2 years I've been high praising Kakko, so I'm glad to see that
Oh,
it's actually
so you pulled an Uncle
come to
Pat then.
fruition. Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's not much of a prediction then. You're pulling an Uncle Pat. If you say Kakko every year, eventually you're gonna be right.
Well,
You're gonna hit.
hopefully.
You're gonna hit it.
Well, yeah. So, anyway, so Kakko looking good. Hopefully, look, Laffy also looking really good. I don't want to, act like I don't like his game. He did a lot of good things last game. I paid close attention to him, particularly when you guys said that he waits in the zone for everyone to change and then gets off. I was trying to look for little things like that in his game, and I did. He's got good awareness. He's very sharp. His angles, like you said, the way he circles in the zone on a change, little things like that matter as the game progresses. And he's got a lot of enthusiasm too. But Kakko just looks like an animal right now. Speaking of animals, Braden Schneider crushes. Eddie was worried about that transition. He looked at me like, "What animals? Where are you going with this?" Braden Schneider crushes Trent Frederick and then AJ Greer, or vice versa. AJ Greer, then Trent Frederick, and it leads to a brawl. Schneider against AJ Greer, Goodrow against Frederick. Mike, what's that like live?
Electric, absolutely electric, dude. Just watching him lay them out and then having to defend yourself. I hate that. I really do. But I'm glad they called the penalty. But just seeing it actually happen right below us, so we definitely had like a nice bird's eye view of the entire fight.
Yeah, and like he's learning from Truba, right? I mean, Truba does that, and then someone wants to fight him, and he chucks his knucks, whatever. So it's good to see Schneider not back down when that happens at all. He's not going to do that. But yeah, coach, I mean, the hit, a little bit of talk on Twitter about the hit was a little high.
On
the
who?
The second hit.
Not even close to being high.
I know. It's whenever
shoulder,
someone gets hit, there's
he
a
literally
segment.
he literally dropped the shoulder. You watch the replay like we just did. He literally dropped his shoulder right in the chest.
Yeah, it was a high chest, but it was chest.
Well, that's
So
chest. What
I
are you
know,
gonna,
I agree. No, I
what are you gonna
agree.
aim for high and low chest now?
And
No, I'm saying there's a segment of hockey Twitter. Twitter
Well,
is a cesspool, so I would recommend
It's
staying off Twitter. But there's a segment of hockey Twitter that just doesn't like physical play, it seems, because every
It's
hit is
crazy.
like every hit is dirty or questionable. It's not true. It was a clean hit, it was a hard hit. There was no intent to injure, nothing. It was just a physical play by a young defenseman making his mark in a rivalry game on national TV. What do you want? Like that's what hockey is. That's what you enjoy about the game, right? So I didn't think there's anything
Yeah.
wrong with the hit.
I mean, I do. I like the skill. I like the physical. I like everything. You know,
Well,
we
the
coached
skill,
the
of
game.
course, you love
We
skill,
coached the game the other night. It was the most physical game in 2 years, and it's just exciting. It's just you're tensing up watching it. You're like, come on, here it comes. You got to be ready for that. The Bruins guys have to be. If he saw the first guy get hit and he thought he wasn't going to get hit coming across, what was that guy thinking? You know,
Yeah.
you can only fault him. It's a physical defenseman. It's not Adam Fox that you're going in on. What did you expect? And he just laid him out. That was great.
he was coming in hot. Imagine throwing a hit with the guy coming in at that speed.
Yeah.
Well, first he
Timing.
threw that big hit in the corner, later, levels that guy, clean hit on the boards too.
Yeah.
And then he follows that up with that hit. So good stuff from Schneider. I love that. He's got to do more of that. I mean, that's how he's going to impact the game at this point in his career. As a third pairing D, he's 21. He's not going to, score 40 points or anything like that or run the power play. That's how he's going to impact it. So good to see that. No fear in the kid. Beautiful. And yeah, there's I think our technically counted as 2 fights. I think that's only the third fight for the Rangers. Not that bad though. How many games? 12?
I just
12.
love the fact that Goodrow's that kind of a teammate. What was the
Yeah.
game before the Boston game?
The game before the Boston game?
Yeah. I think
That was
they
the Philly
won.
game.
Philly.
Philly, yeah, when we were there.
There was that issue where the guy ran into Shesterkin earlier in the game. And when
Yep.
the Rangers were up like 4-1, Goodrow came in after the whistle, looked at him, just flattened him with a cross check,
Yeah.
and was ready to go. Right time, waited for the right moment.
So it's
Game
probably
was
the Dallas
almost
game.
over.
That was the Dallas game with Ty
Dallas
Dellandrea.
game. I thought that was great. Sending a message.
Well, that was the
Yeah,
only
that-
game they've had a lead.
That was Ty.
with a
That
lead
was
like
Ty
that.
Dellandrea, where Dellandrea skated through the crease. Shesterkin was backing out towards the net, and he kind of clipped out his skates, and he
Clipped
fell
his
back
feet. Yeah.
like he got sniped by Putin from the crowd.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, it's all right for you to say that. If I said that, you'd be shaking your head.
Probably true.
So yeah, Shesterkin a little dramatic as
A
usual.
little dramatic, but my point is, there's a time and place. That's something that it's hard to teach because your instinct right away is to say in the old days, let's go right after the guy. But you can't afford in a close game to go after him and get a penalty.
Right.
And then you give up a game-winning goal or something. So he waited for the right time and he sent the message.
Yeah.
But that was a very shrewd move by Goudreau.
Yeah, I like Goudreau too. I think he does that a lot, and it's important. I mean, look,
He's a
Goudreau is
great teammate.
it's a little overpaid, and that could be a problem. But if the cap goes up, they might be able to, withstand it. So it looks like it's going to go up $4 million next year. And I think that his contract won't be a problem at that.
He's definitely
point.
overpaid, but he made a difference last year in the playoffs.
Yeah, no question.
For sure. One thing I wanted to point out before we moved on overall with these last 2 games. In the first game, the Rangers lost in faceoff percentage 61-39. And the Red Wings game 53-48. That's something
Something's
that
off
we've
with
been
those
stressing.
numbers, NHL.
What do you
Yeah,
mean?
they don't add
Oh
up.
yeah, they don't add up.
53-48.
So 52-48. Yeah, whatever.
That NHL messed
Either
that
way.
up.
Yeah, I didn't realize
Well,
that.
They might have rounded up.
Yeah, so either way, I mean, we've been stressing that the last couple episodes where they've been doing well and the reason why they got Trocheck and blah blah blah, but that's pretty ugly. I know Boston's very good at faceoffs, but to lose 60-40% or 61-39,
I'm shocked by
it's got to be
Boston.
closer than that.
I'm shocked by their start, man. Completely, utterly did
So
not
am
see
I.
that coming.
So
No one did.
Did not see that coming.
Any analysts or anybody did not see that coming.
And without Charlie McAvoy too, which is
well, Marshawn came back a month earlier than expected, so that definitely helped. Bergeron wasn't expected to start the season. You know what I'm saying? Like they had a lot of things that they got lucky in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and
The only
Pasta's,
thing
Pasta's
Or they were
really sniping.
selling it short. They probably, I mean, they were saying on NHL Network that they say that on purpose. So then when they come back early, you're praising the trainers and the
Right.
the staff and everything. And you think that it's a great thing that they came back early. But
the only thing I'm going to say about these great starts is that I think I was talking to Mike about it yesterday. I mean, I wish the Rangers were 10-1. Don't get me wrong, but I'd rather them have these issues now than peak at the end of the season than vice versa.
Well, I think we
without
forget
doubt.
that this happens often. You know, like Coach, I don't remember when I was watching. It might have been a while ago, but I was watching the Oh Baby. Remember that video from the '94? Not the one that's the one that's marketed now as like the Rangers '94 story, but it was the one on VHS. It was like the highlight reels from the whole '94 season. Did you ever see that?
I don't think I did. No.
Oh well, I ripped it from VHS into digital, so I have it. I'll send it to you. But so
Before we move on, just so the fans don't think that I don't do my job.
well, they already do. So
By my calculation, according to Hockey Reference, Panarin has 9 power play points.
9. So Coach, you were close. You said 8. Yeah. So in '94, when the Rangers won, they had
Good job, Mike.
they had an extremely slow start to that season, and it was to the point where they were talking about trading Leach, firing Keenan, this that like all this crap was going on. It was just a terrible start to the year, and then they went on like a run of like 13-1-2 or whatever over like a 15-16 game period to kind of separate themselves. So I think that's what you look for. The Rangers are working out the kinks. They got some young guys, some new pieces. Figure out where they fit. Just stay afloat. They're in the thick of it. They're not looking great at times. They're throwing points away. I get it. But hopefully in the next week or two, we start to see a shift where they're starting to put more complete games together. They find their lineup and they can go on a little run. I mean, to get some separation.
I think it's directly correlated to Igor also. He's not playing at that level he was last year. Even though it's a high level, but not at that level.
I thought that, and then I was looking at the goalie numbers after the Red Wings game, because I was like, wow, Igor's got like a .915 save percentage. It's not great. And then I looked at, I mean, it's good, but it's not great. So I looked up league wide save percentages are down in the entire league. There's more goals being scored this year, and his numbers are still like top 7, top 8 in the league. So that's not first in the league. So you're right. His numbers did go down, but he's still like an elite level.
I'm not saying he's playing horrible. I'm saying he's not at the level he was last year.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, that goal he let up into Pastrnak. Come on, the first one.
He's letting up some clunkers. I'll agree.
He was on the boards below the hash marks. Come on.
Yeah.
You can't let that goal in the big game.
He's been letting up some clunkers, but
cannot let that goal in.
All right, let's move over into Coach's Corner with Coach Ed. So
do we already have one?
Wasn't this whole episode?
No, so we talked about demoting Kreider to the fourth line, and Gallant saying that he deserved that, right? But my thing is that in that game, if you notice in overtime, they put out Kreider, Fox, and Zibanejad to start overtime. So you send a message to Kreider to demote him to the fourth line. You make a harsh quote about him after the game, but you start him in overtime. I mean, what kind of message are you actually sending to a player if that's what you're doing?
Maybe the offensive coach threw him out there and it was too late for Gallant. He might have been steaming that the coach put him out there. You don't know what goes on.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes I'll look at Eddie or Mike and I'll say, what are you doing? Why is this kid out there? But it's too late. The puck drops,
No, that's
So
something that they're deciding about beforehand. No.
that's crazy. If that happened, that's crazy. But let's
I
assume that's not what happened and assume that he put him out there. Is he just trying to win the game and he thinks that's the best thing to do? I'm sure, but
I mean, they probably practice that, so that's the three guys that go out together. So it's probably kind of like a power play unit.
why not
Right.
just put Panarin with Zippy in overtime? He's going to start them in 5-on-5 like that. That
And the
makes more
guy who
sense
I
to me.
and the guy who I always wanted in overtime gets the penalty.
Yeah. Well, if you take a penalty in overtime, you're probably going to lose the game. I mean, except when it happened against Colorado, we of course get a power play and don't win. But most of the time, if you get a power play in overtime, you're winning the game. So Keandre, I agree, should be in overtime more. But I don't know. I just think generally that doesn't really send a message to Kreider. So I'm just curious. What the hell Gallant could have been thinking doing that.
Well, you're not giving him the first line minutes during the game, so he is penalized for that. But again, the situation was he not going to be on the power play because he was on the fourth line? Did they get a
Right.
power play at that point? We weren't able to pay that close attention. So
No, I don't remember if he was on the power play after he was demoted. But yeah, I guess you're right because those are situational things you practice. I mean, that's a good point. So you're
Yeah, it's one of
practicing 3-on-3s and
sorry, it's one of those things like one of our players was late the other night to our game. So we asked our captain how he wanted to punish him. And he was like, honestly, coach, like we'll talk about a punishment after the game. Like, let's worry about winning this game right now. So like it was so it's something like that where it's like you don't want to sacrifice losing the game because even if it's something you guys have worked on, like you said, like a power play unit or something, you don't want to just sit out one of your best players just because he had a shitty game because he might just turn around like Panarin always does and score the game winner and then he gets the third star. No, but I kid around, but I'm serious. Like a player like that could become the hero. Like if
we
he
we
is
gotta
it didn't turn out well this time, but a player should be motivated if he gets sat or demoted to the fourth line to come out in overtime and hopefully get the game winner. He also got the game winner against Philly. So, like I said, you got to put out your best players in overtime to win the game, and then maybe address the punishment after.
Ed, you gotta design some kind of merch with the third star for Panarin. It's gotta say like 2 assists -3 or something.
Yeah,
on it,
two
right?
assists. Yeah, game-winning assists -3, 10 turnovers.
Yeah, no, so it's third, and then have like 3 stars on the shirt.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Oh
we
my
might have
god,
to have another award at the end of this episode, the Artemi Panarin
third
Yeah.
star,
Third
Third
Star Award.
third star of the week.
who had a shitty game but ended up being a part of the key play in the game.
I think that's actually really
It's not a
good.
bad.
Somebody who like it looks like they did good if you didn't watch the game, but that's the Doghouse Award though, right? I mean,
Not really.
Kind
The
of.
doghouse means he didn't do anything.
yeah, it's true.
Well,
It's true. All
We're
right,
gonna add
speaking of,
another doghouse award.
we'll
we
talk
gotta
about
add
this,
a
but there's
little,
something.
what do you call it? A little extension to the doghouse.
This has been a recurring theme.
Patio.
This has been a recurring theme, so I think there is something to play with there. The Panarin and the third star of the game. Anyway, speaking of the Doghouse, let's move on into our stars of the week. All right, 2 games. Offensive player of the week. I think we're gonna get a new face here, Mike.
This is another rough episode for these awards.
Am I leading off?
You're leading off, buddy.
Kakko, offensive
Ditto.
star of the week.
Yes.
Can I just
1,000.
give every award to Kakko this week?
Yeah, I know. I mean, listen, Kakko, I don't think he's ever been the offensive player of the week for us. So
I would say probably not.
that's saying
It's
something.
exciting.
And yeah, hopefully he's showing up more. I mean, it's tough to supplant Zibby and Mika. I'm trying to open it,
That's
but
all that's saying to me right now is that the other
Zibi and
guys are
Mika.
not playing that well.
well, it says that, but I think it also talks about how well Kakko's played. So this year, in the 3 episodes, which is 12 awards, because there's 4 of us, 4 times 3 is 12. 6 votes for Panarin, 6 for Zibanejad.
Wow.
But I mean, that's been our offense this year. But yeah, so all 4 of us with Kakko, huh?
Yeah.
Going going to assists, and just as the eye test, everything beautiful with Kakko. All right. Defensive player of the week. We'll go to Little Ed, our defensive coach. Go ahead.
No,
Lead us off.
this was a tough one to pick because I didn't think they played defensively or good defensively as a team overall. But I thought Fox had two good games. He had that nice goal against Boston. But I didn't really notice any big mistakes. He hasn't really been getting a lot of love from me, so I figured why not give it to Foxy this week.
Yeah, he's like the default, right? Like,
I guess so,
well,
yeah, in this aspect. I was gonna give it to Schneider, but other than that hit in the fight, he didn't really do too much. I don't know. It was a tough one to give this week.
That's a lot for 2 games.
Giving up 7 goals in 2 games. How are you supposed to give out a defensive star of the week?
Little Ed not happy with the defensive play in these games.
8 goals.
Not-
in two,
I mean,
8
against-
goals in 2 games.
Well, yeah, the overtime goal, but I mean, 5 goals against Boston, you just can't do that. Defense has to come to play that game as a whole, as a team, and the defensive pairings. They have to know. They have to, especially how Boston is playing this year. They have to knuckle down and stay at home and do what they got to do to prevent that puck from going in the net. Especially when you have Igor behind you. Everyone's been complaining about Halak playing, and when you have Igor behind you in a game like that on national broadcast TV, you can't give up 5 goals.
I mean, that first Detroit goal, Trouba just totally missed the assignment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
The guy was all alone behind him, tapped it in.
Trouba's had a
Yeah.
little bit of a rough go.
That was not a good play. After I praised the defense the week before,
All right, coach. So who'd you pick?
I'm definitely going with Schneid's.
Yeah, I took Schneider too.
The highlights, I
Yeah.
didn't see him making any glaring mistakes. I didn't see the Boston game, but I did listen to it on the radio, and I don't. I'm picking him.
Yeah, I thought he was solid, and particularly penalty killing. I thought he was good. And in the last game, Gallant benched Jones for no reason, really, literally no reason. But he didn't bench Schneider, and I think that says something. I guess he's really. I thought there was a chance that Schneider was going to struggle coming into the year and like a sophomore slump, and I still think it's possible. But he's gaining confidence as these games go on. He's actually getting better and better as each game goes on. So
He
I
had
don't
that
know.
one bad play that I could remember. Was that against the Islanders, where he
had a
played the
few.
wrong guy? And
Yes,
that was a
the
glaring
Ducks.
one. I'm not saying he doesn't make any bad plays.
No, that was against the Ducks.
but
and
that was a
Trevor
glaring
Zegras.
one.
Yeah, that was against Trevor Zegras.
He made a mistake in the spur of the moment. Like I said at the time, I think he'll learn from it.
He's got a short memory. He's big. He's physical. I really like Schneider. Honestly, I think he's growing. into one of my favorite
Shoddy
players.
on the Liberty Schneider jersey, by the way.
I don't think you guys would let me try
Oscar.
I don't think you guys would go to Oscar with a Schneid's jersey for me. You wouldn't put the risk on Schneid's. But all right, Mike, defensive player of the week.
Schneider.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's probably Fox, but I think, Schneider just stood out more. That's all. I mean, so Ed, I don't really hate your pick, but yeah, he stood out. So, all right, highlight play of the week. Where are we going here? Coach Ed.
The whole sequence, the hit on the wall, the hit at the blue line, then the fight. I mean, how could you pick anything else in 2 losses?
Yeah, I'd pick the same.
Samesies.
Within one shift, within 30 seconds or less, it
2
all
hits.
happened. 2 hits in a fight, and he didn't lose the fight. It was probably kind of even, but it was a good fight.
Well, yeah, if you looked on Hockey Reference, it looked like they thought he lost it, but I didn't really think he lost
I mean, it wasn't a bad
it was
loss.
a
If
fight.
if he did lose it, it wasn't horrible. He didn't get beat up.
It was a TKO.
He lost on points, not on any knockout.
Isn't that what a TKO is?
Oh, well, I don't think so.
Technical knockout, I think that's what it is. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a boxing guy. Anyway, yep, 4 for Schneider and that whole play. 2 hits in a fight. I like how coach said that. 2 hits in a fight. I feel like that's like a Dr. Seuss hockey book. Instead of like green eggs and ham, be like 2 hits in a fight, like I'm just full of ideas tonight.
Yeah, you're
All right.
really motivated.
All right, let's go to key contributor. I'll start off here and reluctantly, very reluctantly, take Jimmy VC.
What do you have against Jimmy VC?
Because I'm hesitant to take Jimmy VC for. I'll do it quickly. For two reasons, I'm
I'm
hesitant.
watching the Red Wings game. He had
think he played
multiple
well.
opportunities to
Yeah,
score.
he's playing well. He is. He is. It's not anything against Jimmy VC. I want him to succeed. I have two reasons. I'm
Seems
hesitant.
like you have something against him.
I don't. I'm telling you now. If you let me speak, it's Coach Ed's overreaction to muckers. So I don't want to praise Jimmy VC too much because instead of talking about, Kakko and this, we'll end up talking about, Goodrow and VC. And I don't think the fans want to hear that. And number two, not that Gallant cares, but I get annoyed when coaches give too much rope to these guys. Like VC on the second line, I don't want that. I do not want VC on the second line. So now you're seeing it. He played well these games. Now he's going to be in the top, whatever, So
So a player gets demoted from the first line for playing bad. A player can't get promoted for playing well.
No, they can, but I'd rather a young player get a chance than Jimmy.
You just want Kravtsov on that line. That's the only reason why.
No, I like Kravtsov with Hedel and the third line. I think that's where he should be. But no, I know you're making a joke, but honestly, I don't think VC has a long-term home here, and I don't want to put VC in a position to score a lot of goals. And it doesn't matter. I'd rather a young guy who's going to be here for the next 5 to 10 years get opportunities. That's all. But he played well in these two games. He created a lot of chances. He chipped in with a nice goal. He could have had a couple more. He had a really nice setups too, so he's earning it. I'll give him that, and he deserves it. Mike, what'd you take?
I took VC. Now I'm gonna go with your explanations.
Little lead.
I actually went with VC as well. I think he's the only one that's actually like fitting that role as like a key contributor. He's every shift he's forechecking hard and doing everything he can to get something to happen. And whether or not that's following through, that's a different story. But at least he's giving the effort.
Yeah. Coach?
I'm going to go with VC as well.
Okay, so that brings us to Coach Ed's Copyright Doghouse Award, which I don't even know if that's a legal copyright, to be honest with you. But it is. We'll say it is. All right, Coach. So it's your doghouse. I'm going to start with you. Last week, you had Kravtsov in the doghouse. Is he out of the doghouse?
He didn't do anything to get out of the doghouse. What did he do?
He's still in the
did
doghouse.
Did he throw a hit?
He hasn't even played since you put him in the doghouse.
All right, well, there you go.
Well, he should be back tomorrow night, so he's got a chance. But so Kravtsov's still in the doghouse. Are you putting anybody else in with him?
I mean, I didn't really get to watch enough of it to see how bad Kreider was playing. I didn't see the Boston game, so this ESPN Plus is bullshit.
Yeah, it's annoying. So ESPN Plus, put ESPN Plus in the doghouse.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my god, that's fucking hilarious.
I mean, but did Kreider play that bad?
He didn't play well against Detroit, I felt. I mean,
he's back to that inconsistency that we were worried about last year. We didn't see that at all, I think.
So there was, just to touch on that, there was something about I was seeing that Kreider is scoring less because Strome is more of a distributor on the power play from the bumper, and Trocheck is more of a shooter. So it's kind of like
did Strome get that many assists to Kreider?
I don't know.
I thought Zibby did more in Fox. I thought a lot of his deflections came from the point.
Well, the idea is like Trocheck's getting it and ripping it, trying to like pick a corner, and Strome would just throw it right at the middle of the net, and Kreider just easily deflect.
Yeah, so, I'm seeing Kreider making deflections that just not going in.
Right.
Where last year they were just lucky, right place.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. I see him getting the opportunities. I just don't see him getting the bounce.
I think that like Kreider deflection that we always like on the left post usually came from Strome.
Yeah, so there was a few. So all right, Kravtsov and ESPN Plus for Coach. I last week had Halak in. I'm going to take Halak out because I thought he played really well against Detroit. Deserved a better fate. I think the team failed in front of him, but So I'm gonna let him out, and I'm gonna put Artemi Panarin in. I mean, I've been defending him, and his offensive abilities. Obviously, you got to take these defensive lapses, but I don't know. I mean, the guy's super skilled. He's gonna get points, but I'm just not happy with his game in these 2 games. We need more from him, and he's a jokester, and that's important. But he's also a leader, and he's got to lead when the team needs him to lead. So I'm just gonna put him in, and he'll be out next episode, I'm sure. But Little Ed, what about you?
I think I had Trouba in last week.
Oh yeah, Trouba last week. Is he out?
No, I'm keeping him in, and Kreider can join him because of
Kreider
the
and Trouba.
inconsistency that we just talked about. Yeah, I mean, I say it almost every week at this point that the offense depends a lot on Kreider, and the team overall with him as a leader depends a lot, driving the energy, and just not seeing that from him.
Wow. Yeah, no, I think you got the two guys who were supposed to be captains of this team going into the year is in the doghouse right now. It's not
Yeah,
really
like
a
remember
great
last year,
not a great
Kreider
sign.
scoring the. Remember last year, Kreider scoring those goals, getting hyped up, jumping on the boards, like getting the whole team fired up for him scoring, and like you don't see that at all this year from him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's
I
tough.
mean, maybe he's a little pissed off that he didn't get to see.
You think so?
I don't think so.
I don't like to think so. I didn't think so before the fact, but like he's not playing like even an assistant captain right now.
Yeah. No, I don't
I
know.
haven't
I
really
mean,
watched a lot of the interviews after the game because most of the time I'm just disgusted, so I turn the TV off. But I mean, I don't even see him like showing much in the post game interviews or anything like that either, like being a leader.
yeah,
at
so
all.
there was actually Vince Mercogliano from was it USA Today or whatever. He
These
did
are
an article.
depressing episodes. Can we have another good one?
He did an article where Chris Kreider responded to his demotion and stuff, and this is Kreider's response. Ed, this might give you a little insight. He said, "I'm obviously not playing well enough. I don't think anything's changed. I'm getting the same looks. They're just not going in. They will if I keep doing those things. I'm going to score. I'm going to score a lot." So, and he just acknowledged that he needs to hit more and forecheck more, and do them consistently. So
Those opportunities aren't going to come naturally. He has to create those opportunities for himself, like last
What?
year.
Why does it take him 12 games to realize he has to hit more?
I mean,
He's been in the
I
league
think
10 years. He
To
doesn't
me,
know how
that-
to start the season.
Just be.
to me, that's a cliche quote to just answer the reporter.
Just to answer.
From a veteran. I mean, he cannot be happy with his play. He's not playing well. Early in the year, I did feel he was getting those looks and not, he was snake bitten. But I think lately it's just not enough from Kreider. So hey, I don't hate the pick.
Yeah, you just said it. He got the looks. He's not really getting those anymore. I don't see him, at least.
Yeah, so Little Ed flip-flopping Kreider and Trouba. So you had Kreider in the set in 2 episodes ago. You took him out, you put Trouba in. Now you left Trouba in, you got Kreider back in.
Yeah.
So we need to see more from our leaders.
Capitans.
Mike, what about you?
So last week I had Revo in the doghouse.
That's
I'm
right.
leaving him in the doghouse. I
He
think it
didn't
was
play, so right, you got scratched.
he played against Boston, and I'm
Right.
pretty sure it was either I think the second goal they scored was directly his fault. Extremely slow to the puck. And I'm gonna leave him in there alone because he's a big dude. So there's not much room in the doghouse for anybody else.
That's hilarious. All right, so Revo stays in and he's alone. All right, so that's it for the stars of the week. Let's see how they play. And then we got 4 games coming up, I think. Before the next episode, we got the Islanders tomorrow night, right? Today's the 7th. So we got the Islanders tomorrow night, Detroit on Thursday, Nashville Saturday, and Arizona on Sunday. More revenge. Ryan McDonough, his first time as a Predator, will play the Rangers on Saturday. So just every single game. But all right, let's do some let's do some trivia.
I mean, those 4 games, they should come out 3-1.
Realistically,
Nashville's
yeah.
Nashville's on a
4-0.
slide.
4-0, coach.
Less than 6 points is to me unacceptable.
Yeah. I don't
All right, let's
disagree.
do it.
Let's do some trivia. See if Mike gets some redemption.
I will. This is all from Hockey Reference.
Mike, huh? I gotta start doing the Sam Rosen and studying Hockey Reference.
So we're gonna go with another 2-point question.
2 pointers.
You got to get all 3 names right for a point. You get a bonus point if you get the names in order.
Oh,
Okay.
All right. Excluding the goaltenders, who are the 3 top players with the most time on ice
The Rangers.
for
This
the
season,
Rangers?
just this season, right?
Just for this season. Putting
So
1, 2, and 3 next to their names.
So you
in
have to
the
get
order.
them in order
You don't have
for a
to.
point.
For an extra point, correct. Excluding the goaltenders, who are the 3 top players with the most time on ice
On the Rangers.
on the Rangers.
All right. Waiting for coach.
So Little Ed's got Miller at 1, Trouba 2, Fox 3. Cousin Ed's got Foxy 1, Trouba 2, Miller 3. Coach has got Trouba at 1, Fox at 2. Zibanejad at 3.
Is mine backwards on your screen or does it look normal?
It looks normal.
Oh, it looks
Mine's
Um,
backwards though, right?
right. It looks backwards for myself. Yeah.
Little Ed and Cousin Ed
it looks
each get a
backwards for
point.
myself, but right for you guys.
Coach gets no points. Cousin Little Ed get 1 point.
Okay. So what was the answer?
So it is Fox at 1, 325 minutes. Miller at 2, 292 minutes. Trouba at 3, 287 minutes.
All right. So
I'm calling out Hockey Reference.
Mika
I'm
was
challenging.
4th. Mika was 4th, coach.
Little Ed
actually tied.
moves. Little Ed moves to within a half a point of coach in the cumulative trivia.
I'll call it a comeback.
Moving on up, baby. Chipping at your heels.
And for the season, not cumulatively, I got 4, Little Ed's got 3, and Coach Ed's got 2. So for all you fans out there wondering who knows more trivia.
They're not.
Anyway.
There's
Anyway.
actual 0 Instagram inquiries on the trivia.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys going to the Islanders game tomorrow night. I expect a full brief and report on that game on the way home from the train. I expect some Coach Ed napping on the train pictures after the game as well.
Yeah.
I expect some Rose Pizza images as well. And I expect a Coach Ed sandwich review, not at the same place unless it's a different sandwich. Do not send another sandwich review of the pastrami and corned beef sandwich.
All right, we're gonna make our decision tomorrow.
Do a different one or a different restaurant. But I'm looking
Figure it
forward to
out.
it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we beat the Islanders. And
They better beat the Islanders tomorrow night.
I don't know. After getting shut out by them in the island, or Brooklyn or wherever the hell they play.
Elmont.
Elmont. Great. They better win. They better win tomorrow night. So let's see. And we'll catch you guys next week.
Thank you, fans. Keep following us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, everything. So
Thank you, Little Ed, for running all those pages.
Shout out. Yeah,
Been
big
a lot
shout
of-
out. Big
been
shout
a lot
out
of
to Little Ed.
a lot of good feedback. Been getting a lot of followers recently. I think we're at 1,210 on Instagram. So keep it up.
Nice.
A lot of people.
It is. It is. Thanks for listening. And yeah, we got some good ideas and good content coming on the way. We got some things that are happening, so we're getting excited, and we'll let you know when they happen. All right, boys. Let's go
Let's
Rangers.
wrap
Go
Let's
Rangers.
go Rangers.
Go Rangers. Wrap it up, boys.
Love you guys.
Love you
You guys
guys.
have a good night.